There is a Rashi which is difficult to understand. There are a few questions to be asked on this Rashi. Rashi on Pasuk Hey, the beginning of the Parsha, asks Vim Toima, if you ask a question, מפני מה השרו הקדוש ברוך הוא שכינוסוי על גוי רושע? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu let his Shekhinah reside on a Goy Rosh, on Bilom? Bilom had the Shekhinah on him. He was a Novi, a real Novi, not someone who pretends he's a Novi, like those people who founded new religions. There has been real Nevi'im, Goyim. And Bilom was one of them. He was a real Novi. He could speak in the name of Hashem. He heard the voice of Hashem. So Rashi asks, why on earth did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring his Shekhinah on a Goy Rosh? Two things, a Goy, a Nevet Koichavi, and a Rosh. It's a starke question, a very strong question here. And Rashi answers, Kedei shelo yeh pischon pe le'umos, so that the nations of the world should not have a pretext in the Yom Adin when they will be asked, why didn't you receive the Torah? Why didn't you do the mitzvahs? L'chol ha'poches sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach, the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. Look, the Yidden, look, why didn't you take the example from the Yidden? So the Goyim would have been able to answer, Ilu oyu lonu Nevi'im, if you would have had Nevi'im, like the Yidden had Nevi'im, Chazanu lemutev, we would have done teshuvah, a chochmeh to be a Yid. The Yidden had so many Nevi'im. Moshe Rabbeinu and all the rest. Nevi'im Rishonim, Nevi'im Acharonim. Is it a kunz? Is it a big thing? That the Yidden are frum? If we would have had Nevi'im like the Yidden, we would also have been frum. So in order that they shouldn't have that argument in the day of judgment, He'emid lohem Nevi'im. So he gave them Nevi'im. And what did those Nevi'im do? Veheim portzu geder oil. Instead of bringing the Goyim to Tshuvah, Punkt verkehrt, just the opposite. Hem portzu geder oilom. They breached the barrier of the world. Shebitchilo hoyu gedurim bo ha'oyes. Before they were protecting themselves, like someone who puts a fence around his house to protect himself. They were protecting themselves from aroyes, from incest. וזה נוסן להם עצו להפקיר עצמון לזנוס. And here that one, Bilom, he gave them an eitzah, an advice, to send their daughters to do znus with Bnei Israel. So if they come to the Yom Adin, why didn't you send us Nevi'im? If you would have sent us Nevi'im, we would have done Teshuvah. So here you've got the proof from Bilom. Here's a Novi. I give you a Novi as great as Moshe Rabbeinu. Lo kom beYisrael ke Moshe. Chazal say, beYisrael lo kom. Aber Bumus Oilom kom, umihu ze Bilom. By the Yidden there was never a Novi as great as Moshe Rabbeinu. But in the Umas Oilom, the nations of the world, there was a Novi as great as Moshe Rabbeinu. And we'll see later the Midrash says even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu in Nevuah. No? Did he make you do tshuva? This Novi I gave you, Bilom Rosh, Did he make you do tshuva? He made you worse. Because before they had never had this idea to be machshil the Bnei Yisrael in order to get rid of the Bnei Yisrael so that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should forsake the Jewish people. It's worth it to send their own daughters to do znus with the Bnei Yisrael. Never they would, because the women were doing ba'aroyes. They had a morality. And here came Bilom Moroshe, this Novi, greater than Moshe Rabbeinu, and gave them an advice. You want to get rid of the Yidden? Make them do znus. And they accepted it. And they broke their geder, the barrier of morality. That's what the Novi did. Their Novi did. So here there is a few questions to be asked. First of all, in this Rashi, Rashi starts saying, so that the Goyim should not have an excuse in Yom Adin, he gave them Nevi'im. Not one Novi, Nevi'im, plural, the plural form. Hem idloim Nevi'im. Vehem portzu geder oilom. And those Nevi'im breached the barrier of morals. And then Rashi ends up, V'zeh Bilom Moroshe nosan lo imeitzer lahafkir atzmon liznus. So how many Nevi'im were they? One. Bilom Moroshe. We don't find any other Novi which came from the Umas Oilom and they gave them advice to do znus, except Bilom. And Rashi ends up to say, at the singular form, V'zeh nosan lo imeitzer lahafkir atzmon liznus. So why does Rashi say in the beginning, He'emid loim Nevi'im? Plural. Nevi'im ve'em portzu geder oilom. And no one asks this question in Rashi. It's very hard to say that Rashi was not careful in grammatical. Rashi was a medactic. He was very careful every ois, every letter. So how could he say switch from the plural to the singular like that? And who are those? He'emid loim Nevi'im ve'em portzu geder oilom. That's one question. Second question is, if the whole reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Nevuah to Bilom Moroshe, so that the Goyim shouldn't have an excuse, if we would have had Nevi'im like the Klal Yisrael had, we would have done Teshuvah. Because they can weiterteilen. They can still have the same argument now. What Novi did you give us? Shikar Goy. Bilom Moroshe. It says in Pirkei Avos, מי שיש בו שלושה דברים הללו מתלמידיו של אברהם אבינו, ושלושה דברים אחרים מתלמידיו של בילום מורשה. What are the midas rois a person has to have, or shouldn't have, so that he shouldn't belong to the Talmidim of Bilom Moroshe? Now listen. Ayin ro, veruach gevoyo, venefesh rechova. Ayin ro means someone who doesn't look with generosity and benevolence and with joy on the success of his neighbor. He sees his neighbor as both a brand new car, a beautiful, powerful one, strong, big, huge car, and he is not happy about it. With that, he has got Ayin Ro. And he is a Talmid of Bilom Moroshe. Ruach Gevoiho, arrogance. We spoke lately very much about arrogance. It's a common mistake to think that arrogance is only the person, the grace about guy, everybody's like flies, and he proste arrogance, blatant arrogance. No. Arrogance, according to the definition of the Mislas Yeshari, means I am asking for respect. I deserve praise. Another is I don't deserve any praise. I'm so low, I'm so garnished that I don't deserve any praise. And if people are lacking respect towards me, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not crushed by it. I'm not broken by it. That's another. The third midah, so we see the contrary of another is, if I want praise, I want compliments, I want appreciation, I want covet. That's the second midah. The third midah, nefesh rechava, a wide desire. Nefesh is a rotzen. We know Rav Dessler. אם יש את נפשכם, יש רצונכם, מסירת נפש, מסירת רוצן. A wide rotzen, a big desire. Greedy. He wants everything extra good, extra beautiful, extra big. He wants to become rich. He wants to win the premium bonds or the pools. 1 million. When it comes by the post, you have won 1 million, maybe, in the small letters. Then, £1 million. Take, he sends back the letter, quick, maybe I'll win £1 million. What is that? That is nefesh rechava. It's not so me'ach b'chelko. So for him it's not sufficient a few pounds, just what to make the ends meet at the end of the month. Just come, just enough to live. That's not enough. He wants to be rich. Like Bilom, immediately, Bullock, meloi beisoi kesef v'zuov, lo uchal lavoris pi Hashem Elokai. Even if Bilom gives me millions and billions, why does he spring to millions and billions? Could have said, even if Bilom gives me 100 pounds, I won't be able to transgress the word of Hashem. Or 1,000 pounds. Why does he have to pick up such big amounts? All his house, he had a palace, Bullock. A palace, not a little house, a little hut. His big house, his palace of Bullock. So it shows what kind of asogas, what kind of ambitions he had. Nefesh rechava. And unhappily, leider, we have to say it in the low voice, we might have those 3 midas always. We might have them. I don't say sure because afterwards people will be an uproar. I'm too severe. But let's speak confidently. Pure confidence. In secret, maybe we are not happy when the neighbor comes with a shining brand new car. When the neighbor makes an extension. When the neighbor decorates his house, he makes it more beautiful. Maybe we're not so happy about it. And when someone lacks respect to us, we blow our temper, we lose our temper. Maybe we are baligaiva then. And we want to be rich. Who doesn't want to be rich? Who doesn't want to have the best of the best? Huh? We might, maybe. It won't be such a big exaggeration, a guzma to say. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent them a Bilom Roshe. Azan goy Roshe. Eivet goy chavim. A Roshe merushe. And those who have learned Rashi, the Chumash with Rashi, there are things which you cannot say with the mouth. Especially not in public. Such a maneuver, such a dirty man he was. And that's what you picked to make us do tshuva. Rabbeinu Shalom. All the point you sent us a Bilom, a Novi Bilom was in order so that we shouldn't have an excuse that if you would have sent us a Novi, like you sent to Yin Moshe Rabbeinu, we would have done tshuva. Send us a Moshe Rabbeinu then. Send us a Moshe Rabbeinu, a Novi, a Tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu, like Yeshayahu Novi, like Yirmiyahu Novi, like Eliyahu Novi. You send us a Bilom Roshe. What's it this for? What is it? What is it as an answer to the pretext, to the argument, to the time of the Goyim and Habiyomati? That's also very schwer, very hard to understand. And then there is another question again, a third. Why does he have to make a Novi Goy from them? He could have sent them, especially a Yiddish Novi, like Yoine. Yoine. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Yoine to Nineveh. He was a Yiddish Novi. And he went to Nineveh, and he told them, if you don't do tshuva in 40 days' time, you'll have the same fate as Sodom v'Amorah, and the whole town of Nineveh will be turned upside down and burnt to ashes. And they did tshuva. So you see, if you send them a right Novi, they do tshuva. So why do you send them a Bilom or Rosh? Send them. They want to do tshuva, the Goyim. If you would have sent us a Novi like the Nevi'ei Yisrael, Yoine. Yoine, because the Yoine was a Novi tzaddik. Dvorim hayotzim min halev, nichnosim el halev. Words that come from a pure heart come into the heart, but the words that come from Bilom or Rosh, how can they go into the heart? So we'll answer the questions one by one. First of all, the first question. We asked, why the plural? Rashi should have said, Hemid lohem novi, hu porat gedero elo. Why does Rashi say, Hemid lohem nevim, v'hem portu gedero elo? We're only talking about Bilom here. Oh, there were other Nevi'im. So there is a midrash. Kivan shebo noyach bonov lo elo. After the Mabul, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Shem, Noach had 3 sons, Shem, Chom, and Yofis. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Shem, Shem, Bo'u asoro doiros harishonim vecharabti es oilomi mipneihem. You have seen, Shem, what happened to the world. There already has been 10 generations since the creation of the world, and they were all destroyed. Because gesündigt, they didn't do the Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach. So Shem, I'm asking you, do me a favor. Achshov, now, after the Mabul, so nevuo, speak up your nevuo, visnabe, and be misnabe, and prophesize to them. Im yekablu toirosi alehem. Maybe they might receive my Torah upon them. Shem nisnabe arba me'ois shono. Shem was rebuking the Goyim after the Mabul during 400 years. Ve'lo kiblu mimenu, and they did not want to accept from him. Mikan ve'ilech, after Shem, Eliphaz Atemoni, Ubeldad Ashuchi, וצויפר הנעמוסי, ואליהו בן ברקאל אבוזי, ואיוב מארץ עוץ. You know the story of Eov with his friends. All these names, they are the names of the friends of Eov. They were all Nevi'im, and all these Nevi'im prophesied and rebuked the Goyim in their time so that they should receive the Torah, and Eov also. And the last one, Bilom ben Beor, or Acharon shebekulam. The last one is Bilom ben Beor. End of the list. After Bilom ben Beor, there is no more Nevi'im in the Ummah Soilo. Goyish Nevi'im, that is. So we know all the rest who come and say, we are Nevi'im, they are liars. So what do we see? First of all, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not send one Novi, Goyish Novi, to the Ummah Soilo. But see, he sent them, Shem, and the 4 friends of Eov himself, that makes 5, plus Shem 6, and Bilom ben Beor 7. That makes 7 Nevi'im in the history after the Mabul. And none of them were successful. Except that Bilom or Rosh, not only wasn't successful, but he even made it worse. So when Rashi says, Ehemid loem Nevi'im, yes, maybe Rashi refers to the Friedike Nevi'im, to Shem, to all the 5 plus the 5 and Bilom. What is the pshat? Vehem port together oilo. Vehem, it means those Nevi'im. We do not see that Shem chas v'sholem. Shem gave an advice for Znus. Chas v'sholom. Elihu ben Bechkael. Iyov. He was a tzaddik Tomim. Bilom we know. But one thing there is. The Gemara says in Baba Basra, I think in Baba Basra, yeah, the difference between Iyov, he was such a wonderful tzaddik Iyov. Tzaddik Tomim. Yirei Elokim v'sor meror. But even then, the Gemara makes a difference between the tzidkus of Iyov and the tzidkus of Avraham Avinu. About Avraham Avinu, it says, even on his own wife, he did not look. Ato yodati ki isho yefas mare at. Now I know that you are a beautiful woman. When he came in Egypt, you know the story. They were near the water, and as he was schlepping water from the river, he saw the reflection of her face, and then he realized that she was beautiful. Can we imagine that? Can we understand that? Lo yistakel al trunas yofyo. He never looked how beautiful was his wife. Ato yodati, now I know, after so many years of marriage. Unthinkable. That was so great, was the kedusha of Avraham Avinu. But Iyov, he says, Umo es boinen al besulo. Why should I think about a young girl? What is a young girl? A besulo. A woman who is not married. That means Iyov was careful not to look at married women, to contemplate their beauty. But he prides himself even that he doesn't look at a young girl who is not married. That's all. But about his own wife, no. About his own wife, of course, he may look, and of course, and that is allowed. It is allowed. He is a tzaddik, but what? He's not a chosid. He's not a porush. He's not such a holy man like Avraham Avinu. And he was one of the Nevi'im. He was one of the Nevi'im of the Umas Ha'olam. So everything goes according to the madrege of the Novi. There is a famous word which is said, if the Rebbe is like a Malach Hashem, is like an angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then the Talmidim will be a bit lower. There will be mention. There will be tzaddikim. And there is another word. What the Rebbe sins in thought, the Talmud will sin in deed. In other words, a Talmud always lowers 1 degree according to his Rebbe. So, when Rashi says, Vehem portzu geder oilam, it doesn't mean like Bilom. Portzu geder oilam means the Nevi'e Umos Oilam, they were not as bad, of course, the previous ones were not as bad as Bilom, who goes ahead and he himself was a depraved man, a dirty man. But they did not elevate themselves to the standing, to the madrege of Avraham Avinu, to Oivas HaKadoshim. Moshe Rabbeinu, we know Moshe Rabbeinu. The Kedusha of Moshe Rabbeinu. After Matan Torah didn't live with his wife anymore. That was the whole story with Tzipora. The Kedusha of Moshe Rabbeinu. So, according to this madrege, the Nevi'e Umos Ha'olam, although they were tzaddikim, I'm not speaking about Bilom, but about the others, and portzu geder oilam, they caused that the Umos Ha'olam to which they were misnabe, to which they were prophetizing, were not at the same level as they were. But they were at a certain level. But you know, if you start on a lower level, then it goes down and down and down. We know that. Therefore, we might say like this. Take, Shem was a great tzaddik. We know, Beis HaMidrash of Shem forever. Yaakov Avinu learned by him. He must have been a tremendous tzaddik, Shem. But then, the other Nevi'im, all the friends of Eov and Eov himself, although they were tzaddikim gemurim, but they didn't reach the madrege of Kedusha as a Novi Yisrael reaches to, like Moshe Rabbeinu. Because in order to reach the Nevuah, like a Novi Yisrael reaches, he has to go through all the madreges of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoyer, which the Mesilas Yesharim quotes, which goes right up to Kedusha, to Chasidus, to Anova, to Kedusha, and then to Nevuah, and then to Ruach HaKodesh. But the Nevi'im Moshe, like even Eov, he didn't have that madreg of Kedusha, of Precious, like Moshe Rabbeinu had. And therefore, although the Goyim in his time were also Gedurim Ba'aroyos, they were protecting themselves in morals, but they were not at the madreg she'ikablu es ha'Torah. And Portzu Geder Oilom, that means, relatively speaking, according to the Madrege, they caused that the generations of their times were going down and down until they accepted the advice of Bilom Rosh. That's to answer the first question. The second question was, Bilom Rosh. You sent us a Rosh like Bilom. The answer is, Achidus, another thing, that we must say that Bilom, before he had Ruach HaKodesh, he was the best, the highest, the most moral mensch there was amongst the Umas Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to choose the best and the most suitable to receive Ruach HaKodesh. That was Bilom before he had Ruach HaKodesh. Now what happened? Why did he go down so low? That was because he had Ruach HaKodesh. We already spoke a few times about this. If someone is not ready to receive Ruach HaKodesh, not only Ruach HaKodesh will not help him out, but the Ruach HaKodesh will make him fall into Gaive, like Koirach. We spoke about Koirach. He had Ruach HaKodesh. Yerovam ben Nevot, he had Ruach HaKodesh. All those people who had Ruach HaKodesh, even Achtoifel had Ruach HaKodesh. He saw the Malchus was going to come from Bathsheba, was one of his granddaughters, Bathsheba. But the same as Koirach, if one is not prepared to receive Ruach HaKodesh, doesn't have the sufficient midah of humility, then like Moshe Rabbeinu could receive Ruach HaKodesh because he was an honor. If one is not an honor, then the Ruach HaKodesh would go to his head. And from arrogance came all the other midas. That's to answer the second question. And the third question, why not a yoine? Why not a yoine? The answer is, really, the nevuah of yoine didn't, the tshuva which yoine brought to the goyim, it had an effect, but only temporarily. Chazal say, after a while, I don't know how many years, they turned back to their old bad ways and even worse than before. And we might say, maybe that's what their argument will be, B'yoim Adin. They'll say, you know why? Because Yoine was a Jewish Novi, so accepted what he said, but it didn't last. If you would have sent us a Novi from us, not imported Novi, but a Novi who comes from us, who is made from us and by us, then he would have made us do tshuva and it would have lasted. And that is the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him. Now we see from here that the common mistake is that if someone doesn't do tshuva, he excuses himself that the fault is not his, but if he would be in a different time, with different people, with better Rabbonim, or if he was in the time of the Chofetz Chaim, of the Vilner Gaon, or if he would be in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, then it would be frumer. It would be easier to do tshuva. And many times we think like that the reason why we don't do tshuva is because it doesn't have the suitable occasions and tools in order to do tshuva. And that is exactly the mistake that the goyim are making b'yoyim adin when they will have the argument, why didn't you give us Nevi'im like the Yidden had Nevi'im? And in actual fact, we find that even the Yidden in the time before the Churban Beis HaMikdash, they also had wonderful Nevi'im like Yirmiyahu Hanavi and Zechariyahu Hanavi. And not only the Yidden didn't help the Yidden to the tshuva, although they rebuked, the Nevi'im rebuked them, they warned them about the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, about the Golus, about the exile, but it didn't help. And even one Novi, Zechariah Novi, they killed him in the Beis HaMikdash itself. So we see that it doesn't depend on Nevi'im to do tshuva. But tshuva is a personal matter, a question of will. As we know the story with Rabbi Elazar ben Dordayo, but in actual fact, he was called Elazar ben Dordayo. He was not a rabbi in the beginning. And he was a great Rosh. The Gemara tells us in Maseches Avodah Zorah, there wasn't one Aveira he did not transgress. He was a complete Rosh. But one day, he decided to do tshuva, and then he went to the Rabbonim, to the Tzaddikim. They should daven for him, they should give him a brocha, they should help him to do tshuva, because he realized it was such a hard task to do tshuva. It was above his possibility. But all the Tzaddikim told him, we can't help you, you must do tshuva on your own. So the Gemara tells us he went outside the town on a valley in a field, and he put his head on his knees, and he started crying and crying until his soul went out of his body and he died. And then there was a voice from heaven that proclaimed and called him Rabbi. Rabbi Elazar ben Dordayo, you are ready to enter Olam Habo. And when Rabbeinu HaKodesh heard that heavenly voice, he cried himself and he said, Yesh mi shekoine oilomo b'shivim shono. There is someone who has to work a full lifetime in order to reach that level, to enter Olam Habo, and he meant on himself. And there is one person like this, Rabbi Elazar ben Dordayo, who reaches this madriga, this level, to enter Olam Habo without seeing Gehenna in one moment. And the Maharsha explains that he called him Rabbi because he taught us a big lesson, how a person, in order to do tshuva, has to rely on his own will, on his own desire, on his own decision, although no one was ready to help him. And that is the lesson we can learn from this parsha of Bilom, that the mistake that the Umas Olam are making, that we didn't do tshuva because we didn't have Nevi'im, that this mistake we also do. And furthermore, Chazal tell us, Lekach nichtevo parshas Bilom, therefore was written the parsha of Bilom in the Torah, Lehodia, to let us know, Lo mosilek HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ruach HaKodesh me'umos ha'olam. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu take away Ruach HaKodesh from the Umos ha'olam? What does it mean? We said just before that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to prove with Bilom that this excuse is not an excuse, and instead of bringing a help for them to do tshuva, it just made it worse. And that was the reason why the parsha of Bilom was written in the Torah. If we would have asked someone, do you know the reason why the parsha of Bilom was written in the Torah? We said in the Haftorah of Parshas Bolok, Ami zechorno, my people remember what Bilom did to you in the Midbar, and what HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved you from his curses. Lema'an da'as tzidkois Hashem. Remember what my Yuatz Bilom, what Bilom advised. Ami zechorno ma Yuatz Bolok melech Moav uma'ono osoi Bilom ben Be'or. My people remember what Bolok advised, the king of Moab, and what Bilom answered him, Bilom the son of Be'or. Min Shittim, from Shittim ad Gilgol until the Gilgol, Lema'an da'as tzidkois Hashem, in order so that you should know the charities of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we see from this pasuk at first view that the reason why we have to remember the story of Bilom and Bolok is in order to remember the Chesed Hashem, Tzidkois Hashem, the charities of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The same as we have to remember the Mon, same as we have to remember Kriyas Yam Suf, and all the Nisim of the Midbar, of Yetzias Mitzrayim, we have to remember also HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved us from the Kololos of Bilom. V'yafoch Hashem Elokecho lecho es haklolo livrocho. HaKadosh Baruch Hu transformed the Kololo into a broche. And here Chazal say that the reason why the Parsha of Bilom was written in the Torah was totally different, a different reason. The reason is to let us know why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu take away the Shekhinah from the Umos Olam. We must explain that Leman das Tzidkois Hashem, so that you should know the Tzidkois Hashem, that doesn't mean Tzidkois Hashem, the Chazdei Hashem, the Tzedokah of Hashem, the charities of Hashem. It means the Tzidkus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is just with everybody, and he doesn't want people to have an argument against him b'yom adin. And that's why Chazal say that Lo Nichtovo Parshas Bilom, the only reason was only why the Parshas Bilom was written in the Torah, only for the sole reason, Lo Idia, to let us know, Lo Mosilek HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ruach HaKodesh me'umas ha'olam. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu take away Ruach HaKodesh from the umas ha'olam? And the broches, and all the broches of Bilom, really we can be moyechel on the broches, because we find the Gemara says in the Gemara says that all those broches of Bilom turned back again to Klolos, the same as he wanted to curse the Yidden. Only one broche didn't stay the broche, that was the broche Matoivu Alecho Yankov Mishkenosecho Yisrael, the broche of the Bote Knesios and Bote Midroshes, that never in the history of the Klal Yisrael they were going to lack Bote Knesios and Bote Midroshes. But all the other broches, there came a time when they turned back into Klolos again. One thing. And a second thing, why we can be moichel is broches, because Chazal say that the difference between the broches of Bilom and the broches of the Ovos Olam and the Nevi'e Yisrael, Kesheberach Bilom es Yisrael, when Bilom, Chazal say, when Bilom blessed the Klal Yisrael, his voice was going 60 miles in the Machane Yisrael. It's the same distance as the Machane Yisrael. And the brocha which Bilom gave to the Yidden was even greater than the broches which Yaakov Avinu blessed the Shvotim, and even greater than the broches which Moshe Rabbeinu blessed them. Because when Yaakov blessed the Shvotim, he was rebuking them in the same time. He rebuked Reuven and Shimon and Levi. And also Moshe did not bless them until he rebuked them first. But Bilom, when he blessed them, he didn't rebuke them at all. And therefore, because there were only brochos, there were only praises and broches, the Yidden became arrogant because of his broches, and they came to do the Aveire in the Eitzah of Bilom in Shittim. And furthermore, we see that Chazal say, Omar Shmuel Bar Nachmon, a Midrash in Parshas Eikev, all what the Yidden eat in this world are from the broches of Bilom or Rosh. But what they eat in the next world is from the broches of the Ovos Oilom. And I heard from Rav Gavriel Knopfler Shlite that Maharal explains what does it mean, all what we eat in Oilom Hazeh is from the broches of Bilom or Rosh. He explained that there is someone who enjoys Gashmias for the sake of Gashmias only. And if it is so, what he gets is from the broches of Bilom. But if he enjoys Gashmias in order to be able to learn Torah and to do mitzvahs, then what he enjoys, that is from the broches of the Ovos HaKadoshim. So we see again that the broches of Bilom Rosh was not a chesed, really. Therefore, that's why Chazal say, the Pshat, Tzidkos Hashem, Leman das Tzidkos Hashem, in order we should know the Tzidkos Hashem, that means the Tzidkus Hashem. The whole goal and the whole lesson of Parsha Bilom is in order to teach us, as we said already previously. We are not speaking now about the Umas Oilom. We are not interested what the argument will be and what is their answer. But what we have to learn from here is that we also, that is the lesson, to let us know what did the Umas Oilom want, what was their excuse, and that it was not an excuse, so that we should learn from here, Musa Haskel, that our excuses which we have to eject the fault on other people, on circumstances, on the lack of opportunities, we should realize that is the mistake which the Umas Oilom are making, and this is a mistake which we should not do. We should realize that according to the opportunities we have now in the present time, that's how we can do tshuva. There's a story that Rabbi Naftali, Amsterdam, the Talmid of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, once came to him and said, Rebbe, if I would have the head of the Sha'agas Aryeh, and if I would have the heart of the Baal Yesod V'Shoresh Avodah, then I would have some scope to be able to reach a certain madrege. But I'm so little, such a small head, such a small heart. What hope have I got? So Rabbi Yisrael Salanter answered him, Naftali, with your head and with your heart, you can become the perfect tzaddik. So now that we have entered in the Drei Wochen, the Churban Beis HaMikdash, and the whole purpose of this period is so that we should try to improve our ways. We should realize that all this is a matter of will, of personal will, and let us not deceive ourselves by thinking that the fault is not ours because we don't have enough opportunities, and then when we'll realize that, we'll say, Ena dover toloi lo bi, the whole thing depends on me and on me alone, then Take HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us. Abo letayer, the one who comes to purify himself, Mesayin lo min hashomayim, we help him from heaven to achieve his goal.